Now at 4, Indy's vice presidential visit. Kamala Harris just departed Indianapolis International a little more than an hour ago after a brief stop downtown. In one of her first speeches as a candidate for the White House, she made her pitch for the presidency.
We believe in a future where the economy works for working people. That is why we forgave student loan debt for more than 5 million Americans. And if you or anyone you know benefited from that, please testify.
The vice president now on her way to another stop in Houston, Texas. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Jenny Renovich in today for Felicia Lawrence. So the vice president spoke to thousands of members of the historically black sorority Zeta Phi Beta at the convention center today. And we have team coverage for you. We'll start with Karen Campbell, who's live downtown. Hi, Karen.
Hey there, Jennifer and Jenny and Dustin. Yeah, you know, it's been a sea of blue and white here all day at the convention center. You see behind me, of course, nothing but blue and white. These Zeta Phi Beta members dressed in their colors. Vice President Kamala Harris's speech today during a social justice town hall ignited a wave of excitement. As you mentioned, thousands of members of the sorority were here. It was just unbelievable to just be in that room and just feel what they felt as the vice president took the stage, many of them seeing her for the very first time. Now, Harris touched on a lot of topics that really, again, just energized the crowd. She talked about affordable health care, affordable child care, reproductive rights, and lots more. Now, we could not speak with any members of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority because they were told not to speak on behalf of the organization to the media. We did speak with President Harris. He came here as a guest with his wife. Take a listen to what he had to say about what really stood out to him while he listened to the vice president address the crowd.
To me, there was no divisiveness in her conversation. She talked about an array of things, from women's right to voting, just to the history, to of course President Biden's legacy, but also there was no divisiveness in anything she said.
Our families and our future.
Now, Harris went on to say that he felt Vice President Harris was talking for the American people and mobilizing them to get out and vote. And that is something Harris says that she's counting on members of Zeta Phi Beta to do. And she said to, quote, continue fighting for our nation. Of course, we'll have much more on Kamala Harris's visit coming up at 5 o'clock, guys.
And working to motivate her base. Karen, thank you.
You know, this was a relatively brief visit. The vice president landed at Indianapolis International Airport just before noon today.
Our Rich Nye was there for the arrival and departure of Air Force Two.
Hours before the vice president arrived, a heavy security presence was obvious and active around the international arrivals terminal. That included officers with rifles on the roof of the terminal building. A helicopter hovered nearby. Air Force Two touched down in Indianapolis at 11:54 a.m. A motorcade of about 20 vehicles moved into place to welcome the vice president. Kamala Harris stepped off the plane and down the steps to a military salute. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett welcomed the vice president to the Circle City. They spoke for about 2 minutes at the bottom of the steps before Harris got into a waiting SUV for the police escort downtown to the convention center. Air Force Two was only on the ground in Indianapolis for about 2.5 hours. The vice president is now headed to Houston, Texas to speak to a national teachers convention. Before 2:30, the motorcade was back at the airport. Harris posed for a short photo op in front of Air Force Two. In a light sprinkle, the vice president climbed the stairs and waved goodbye to Indianapolis. Her presidential campaign just taking off this week and back in the air at 2:45. At the Indianapolis International Airport, Rich Nye, 13 News.